In 1920 through 1933, the United States went through Prohibition, where no alcohol was produced, no alcohol was purchased, you couldn't make alcohol. Before those days, in Utah, there were distilleries and breweries. You know, it was thriving. It's what kept our economy going. But since 1933, there was no breweries in Utah until 2016. And that is where everything changed. And I present to you Strap Tank. This is the first brewery since Prohibition, and this is what started it all. If it wasn't for Strap Tank, I wouldn't be here. This is where I learned it. This is where I became enthralled in craft beer. God, feels good to be home again.
Come on in.
Dude, this is it. This is Springville. Strap Tank is where I cut my teeth. Not necessarily this place, but in Lehigh. So I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Strap Tank. So this place opened in 2016, right? I remember my wife and I would come here, and it was like so cool to have this brewery. I never understood it because being from Utah most of my life, they don't make beer here. My friend, my buddy at the time, was a GM at this location, and I asked for a job here, said no, but they're opening a location, the second location in Lehigh. And that's when in 2019, I was there day one, 2019, at Strap Tank. That's where I met the brewers. And that's where I watched these like gremlins downstairs make this beverage. And as the bartender, I was the first line of defense. So I had to describe the beverage that they were making, like their craft, to the public. So it wasn't like a Bud Light or a Michelob Ultra, or it wasn't a soda pop. You know, it was, what's a beer? Like, I don't drink beer. Like, okay, well, let me work your palate, and here's these 12 beers that we can go from lightest to darkest, and we can find a beer that you may like. Most people, it's so funny to see as a bartender, they'd go, oh, I hate dark beer. I hate it. It's all gross. It's like, I had some of the most cleanest, softest dark beer in the world that you'd never know. And the other thing is, there's wheat beers that are like kind of more gummier and more chewy. And they have more of that texture that people like. And there's some beers that just don't taste like beer. Like the sours, I don't think sours are actual beers. But here, best sours in Utah are at this location right here. I was so intrigued of like, how are you making this nectar? And I had to bridge that gap between consumer and the gremlins downstairs, the brewers. And that's where I would spend all my extra time after my shifts, before my shifts. I would go downstairs and just hobnob with the brewers. And then I went down a rabbit hole deep in 2019. Before COVID happened, I got bit by the bug, and I was traveling and just trying to find and showcase all these artists. There was more breweries outside of my little bubble in Utah County. There's other Strap Tanks in Salt Lake County, And so I would drive up Salt Lake County and they'd have beer releases and I'd grab it. And back then, sounds like an old man, back then, they had beer releases where they'd have a release and there'd be lines out the door. And you'd go and you wait in line and you get a new beer. And my buddy Wyatt, that's where the Tastemasters came up. We wanted to educate the people like, dude, there's good shit happening here in Utah. Why doesn't everyone know about this? And that's where Tastemasters started, was to educate, take that education and bridging the gap between behind the bar and the consumer to education to the whole community. And then long story short, we're here. I'm trying to showcase the artists that are making what I think is so beautiful. And I'm so blessed to be a part of this community. And you're gonna meet Julia, and Julia is my best friend in brewing. Yeah, so when I started, this was a parking lot, kind of dirt on that side. I would park on the other side where that Sugar Shack is. I would park over there. Man, you ready to meet Julia?
Barely. Nice.
Good morning. This is CJ, by the way.
Hello.
I got you some beers finally.
Oh, shit.
I know.
Come on in.
Dude, this is it. This is Springville. So here's the fermenters. Julia's got some clean hoses ready to go. Old school, best cream mill in the world, right? And then this is Julia's vessel. Like, this is Julia's. This is yours. You know this, right? We haven't brewed here together since...
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus times. You changed it up at all?
A little bit. So,
Let's get milling in. We're gonna be crushing in here. There's an auger in here that Julia's turning on, or just turned on. So it's gonna pick up the grain, the crushed grain, it's gonna put it in a nice grist case. Yeah. There's a slide, I'll show you real quick. There's a little slide right here, the pull slide. So if you don't have that shut, grain's just gonna drop right in here. So you gotta make sure it's always shot before you put grain in there, or else you're just gonna send it, instead of holding it in this vessel, you're gonna hold it in this vessel. And you don't want that. So here's that false bottom. Here's this slide gate. Boop. Remember what I told you about floors? Floor drains?
yeah.
This is the only drain. Wow. The worst. This is what keeps you young.
Yeah.
Now, we're gonna be brewing today. I'm gonna be brewing with one of the legends. Oh my God. And then, check us out. Bavarian Pilsner out of Montana. And this is German made. And these two rollers are meant to crush that grain and pulverize it. So you want to get it pretty fine, right? You want to get it pretty close. But if you try to put more grain than it can catch up, you're gonna seize the motor. The safety is it's gonna jam it up, stop it. We have these slide gates right here, and what they'll do is they'll mitigate or let us open up how
Just
much
like
grain goes into it.
Certain, amount of grain.
So you want a certain
goes into
speed,
it.
because also the augers go on a certain speed, and you want to clog this up. Because if you clog this up with grain or powder, then opening this is a bitch, because then you have to take the entire auger out, and it's almost spring loaded. So that's not fun. In beer, you never want to rush anything.
You have to have like 12 different degrees to be a brewer, I feel like. Like you're like a plumber, an electrician, like
Yeah.
there's shit I'm doing that I'm like, I am not qualified to do
Carpenter.
this. Like,
Yeah.
we ready? Let's go. Wanna do it?
Hell yeah. Is she open?
Yep, we're good.
So each of these bags are about 55 pounds. And the whole bag can fit in the hopper right here. If you watch this, slowly, my speed I go to is, I watch quicksand. It's like your hand in quicksand. Perfect speed.
Did you try it?
Yeah, so this is what we're using for our American lager right now. So here's a cool fact. In the past 4 years, Julie and I are the only ones that brew on this system. Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Yeah, past 4 years, it's only Julie and I here. Yeah, we spent a lot of time in here. A lot of memories.
A lot of memories.
We got in a routine where once we started mashing in, we go over to the coffee shop right here. And so it was like trying to get in mashing it as fast as possible because our morning coffee was right there. I'm excited to be back in my routine.
I know.
But yeah, that Bavarian Pilsner malt, a lot smaller, and that Crystal malt, difference.
God, I miss having you here to have you mill in. Nice.
I left you able to work all of a sudden, is that what happened?
Oh yeah, then all of a sudden, someone had to start working again.
I love how you're a genius when it comes to recipes, but like you'll do the easiest way to like simplify your work.
Ah, work smarter, not harder, man.
Yeah, you're the best at it. So Julia and I, we've made how many in the metal round now? So the thing about Strap Tank is like, we were making kick-ass beer here, and a lot of our beers made it to like, so you have to go through rounds to get to that final table. Usually it's about 3 or 4 rounds. So if you make it to the metal round, basically it's anywhere from like 5 to 8 to 12 beers, and it's the top 3 of those beers win. So you make it to that table, it's like there's no place for 5th place or 4th place or 10th place. No one gives a shit. You only give a shit about the first 3.
Only the first 3.
So Julia, always sends her beers always go like right almost there. That's the title of this segment.
Yeah. My mom did Kevin Bacon's laundry.
And then I'll let this guy continue to run all the way up. Okay. Is that how I'm teaching you how to brew at Julia's place?
We're sending his Golden Ale because Gold Star is kind of old now. Yeah, I think we're sending like 8. Yeah, we've been switching like things up and throwing high side into like the premium lager category, so not
premium lager, huh? High side,
or not high side, flathead.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so not a Helles.
I think it's a smart choice.
Yeah.
So right now, Julia's gonna start buttoning up everything. See all these holes right here? So all these pipes are coming out. We direct everything with these awesome little elbows. So they'll connect like here, right here.
Phone operator, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that. I haven't thought of that, but yeah. So she can manipulate wherever the wort goes, that sugar water, whether she wants to put it back on top of the mash, she wants to put it in the kettle, or she wants to put it to the ground. It's up to her.
Yeah, they were like, oh, you know what you're doing. And I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so how Julia got the job was thrown to the wolves. Basically taught herself and tried to learn as much as she could. So Julia's seen and worked with every single head brewer that's been here at Strap Tank. And finally, after what, 6 years later,
the head brewer.
She's now the head brewer. She's fine. This is the head brewer. Julia also started the Pink Boots chapter in Utah. Showcases women in fermentation. So she started that here in Utah. Julia is a pioneer, and if you were to write a book, Julia has to be mentioned for that of Utah County as the first female head brewer in Utah County, and then starting that Pink Boots chapter, which has helped a lot of women get a job in fermentation. Yeah, you're kind of a badass. You're gonna see, we're gonna make cereal in here, right? You're gonna see a sight glass. These sight glasses will be filling up with sugar water. We gotta make sure everything's buttoned up, and then when we're ready, we're gonna fill this. It's called a grant. We're gonna fill this up because this sight glass is gonna show us how clear or not clear the sugar water is, or wort, right? It's spelled W-O-R-T, but it's pronounced like shirt, wort, yeah? Not wart. Julia makes fun of everyone because she's one of, as far as I know, 3 or 4 brewers in Utah that brew manually. So this guy, this is how she makes cereal every morning. And this is her workout. Like, this is not easy. I'm gonna make you do this, CJ.
Beautiful flip.
Called the cowboy flip.
Wonderful execution.
Thank you. I have a wonderful idea. Jules, hear me out. A brewery designed by brewers,
What?
for brewers,
No.
ran by brewers,
Nah.
with great floors. Why is this so difficult? Is this a pipe dream? So we're gonna get hydrate hot water and grain at the same time while we're mixing. She has to maintain temperature while someone's stirring, but today she's gonna have help that she's gonna like and she loves.
Should have done a step mash. God. Been doing those by myself.
Yeah, you could have done a step mash on this one.
Oh, I gotta go turn on this water really quick. 1 second.
So again, and we climb here, so there's Jules. It's climbing. So that's her RO tank is up there. Reverse osmosis water. This one's double filtered.
That big thing right there.
That's pure water, just clean. So she fills this up. So the cool thing, so there's 4 main ingredients in beer, right? You have malts, hops, yeast, and water. So if you think about it, the majority of it's water, so the water is most important. A lot of German places or a lot of European places, the water is actually hard. And that hard water is what gives it that authentic flavor. And so we try to mimic that. So if you can go RO water, make it as blanket as possible, and then you can, what Julie was adding is salts. You're trying to make it to style. You want to make it harder, softer. You want a little more flinty in there. That water she used to heat up the vessel, she's now going to dump to the drain. And now, when you step here, you might die. Oh, I am not excited for this at all. So right now, Julia's pulling the hot water from the hot liquor tank, and she's now trying to get, she's looking at a temperature probe, and she's trying to get the perfect amount of temperature so we can start the grain.
So this is our temperature probe. So we're just trying to get to like 162-ish. And then once we hit it, I can add some cold water from here to help like keep it within that range, yeah.
We've been brewing this place for 4 years. So leaving was it was tough. Julie was the second person I called. And I remember when I got an opportunity to enhance my brewing career, I called her, it was a Saturday. I called her and she goes, "Oh shit, you're leaving, aren't you?" I didn't say anything. Her and I we're like, yeah, we're besties, so she figured it out. Just watching her, she's paying her full attention's right here. So you really have to fine tune everything. And Julie is really good at fine tuning every beer. And that's kind of like the motto of Strap Tank in a way.
Yeah, finely tuned.
It's kind of, the motorcycle theme, but like we actually took it to heart and we always tried really hard to finely tune our beers. Okay, so now seeds are mashing in. So now the hot water is hitting that grain. And now Julia's got this is her workout. This is why she doesn't go to the gym, because she works out here. So if she's by herself, she has to spin this, make sure that that's dropping in at a certain rate. Now 162, 3. So now I can help her put in more grain. The one thing you want to do is go too fast, because then you can start doing what is called dough balls. Moisture's not going to go in those balls. We want to make this a cereal. We want air. It's like, when you try to eat your cereal, you have like the dry cereal. No, you want all that sweetness. So that's kind of what it looks like. See how it's just getting dry?
Get like does up, kind of like that.
Yeah. So that's not a no-no. So if that goes too fast, I'll close this guy. She has to do this by herself every time. Basically, she misses me every time.
Every time.
Whenever you want to tap out, you're more than welcome to tap out.
You're in your nice clothes. Thank you.
The dream team's back, baby.
Dream team's back.
So now we're putting corn in. Smells like Lucky Charms. Just holding that 162, my friend. Julie and I, we went through a lot of the same goods and bads, right? And so we bonded over the good times and the hard times.
Trauma bonded.
That's it.
We did trauma bond too. Julie's the one that helped teach me how to make a sour beer, a true sour beer. Still terrifies me to this day, but I know how to do it. Let's see, what did I teach you?
Taught me how to work hotter, David.
Good save for the camera. So I'm trying to time this perfectly without, you can't see what's in there. You're going off of feel and sight. See, still got it. There you go, amiga.
Thank you.
So now the cereal has been made. So all the water, so you can see right here in the sight glass stage, our differential pressure right here is the same. So we have our water and our sugar right here. So go take a look at it. So now what Julia is doing is adding that hot water, the remaining of it, on top of this cereal mash. So yeah, when it's done, we're gonna see that sparge. When we get the water level past the grain level, so the grain's up here, water's here, you're gonna see that beautiful bed. It's gonna naturally create a filter and give us canyons and slots, and also it's gonna look like a mountainous area. It's really cool actually. Right before the water level gets below the grain, we want to sparge. We want to maintain that because we don't want to do something called channeling. We want all the water to go through all the grain, right? And that's where Julia and most places have that false bottom, because they're gonna extract that sugar water, and we can either put that sugar water on top or we can put it in here. And that's where ketos is different, is we don't have this process, we just manipulate and force it. Yeah, that's why I can do 4 brews in the time she can do 1 brew. And just because you can do faster doesn't mean it's better.
Sure.
But someone's beer is tasting better.
I'm so excited to try them.
So now is the best part. We go get coffee. You see how we both like went to go get our jackets? Oh, Jules, I'm stealing your jacket.
7:30.
There's only like how many left in the world?
Oh, I don't know.
It's OG, dude.
It is. That's totally.
And Julia stole this. Check it out. Who wore it better, Julia or David? This is our cooler. I guess Julia's cooler. 6 bright tanks, so these have finished beer, and these go directly to the tap room. So she has a total of 12 taps, so the remaining 6 are on kegs. Let's go, my friend. Oh yeah. Brings me back, Siege. Let me put this away and let's go look at that. So now all that conversion's happening, right? So we look at that. Can't really tell. This is the water above the grain, but now we have, this is where the activity is happening at the moment, right? Once we start sparging, you'll see the grain and kind of the peaks and valleys of it.
Sparging?
Sparge, yeah. What sparging is, we take that hot water and we're gonna put a blanket of that hot water on top very gently. What we're trying to do is basically rinse off any remaining or leftover sugars, so then we're trying to get all the sugar we can from here naturally, because beer, in my opinion, I'm not saying I'm a naturalist or a traditionalist, but to make beer, you're trying to extract, the goal is to extract all the sugar from the grain itself and then use that to make beer. If you have to add sugar, you're getting kind of a gray area, like you're adding ingredients. Again, there's 4 ingredients to beer. So if you can get the sugar from the 4 ingredients, hey, you're doing your job right. I miss this because it's almost like a neighborhood bar. You're making it just for where we're from. When I was brewing here in Utah County, it was about bringing it home. I was making beer where I grew up, and to me, it was so cool. It was so cool to be the first Latin American brewer in Utah County, the first award-winning Latin American brewer in Utah County, you know, the first one from Orem, Utah, Vineyard, Utah. Like, I was, in my mind, I was being a pioneer and helping do what I love. And then I met Julia, and Julia's doing the same thing. She's the first female brewer down here. She's doing it for a cause. She makes the best beer in Utah County, period. Like, I will fight anyone. She makes the best true sour beer in Utah. And she's the most underrated brewery in Utah. No one knows what the fuck she's doing down here. And everyone here, though, knows. Like, everyone that walks in those doors that are regular, they know who Julia is. And anyone who's anyone in the beer world know who Julia is. And, you know, it's to be able to work beneath her, with her, you know, alongside her, and doing it here, man, like, it hits, dude. This place is beautiful, and you know, being the first in Utah County since Prohibition to do it, it's good times, dude. It's beautiful. I would never take it back. So what she's gonna do is take this hose right here, and she's going to attach it to what we call the heat exchanger. Ooh. So what you have to do is take 200-degree wort that's finished, cooked and everything, and then you now have to turn it into 50 degrees in that tank. So this heat exchanger is like a radiator for a car. So right here, what's gonna happen is you follow this pipe. This pipe is gonna come in with hot wort, go through here, and on the other side, we're gonna have city water or glycol, or both, come in, take cold city water, cold glycol, that's gonna come, take all that hot and the heat, send it back, and we're gonna pump out cold wort. So this is where we can gauge our temperature right here. So we're gonna kind of monitor that. So it's a process here, and then we're gonna pump it into this tank because she wants to ferment at a certain degree. I'm going to assume anywhere between 50, 54 degrees right in here. And so these are jacketed. So these are cold where she can put, they're ran by glycol, so that will keep whatever temperature she wants. The hardest part about making a lager is fermentation. You can do the best job over here, but I think lagers are all about fermentation. Boom, it's how you treat it, how you baby it, take care of it. Low and slow, baby, low and slow. But what she has got a blow off valve right here. So any CO2 is gonna come and bubble out here. Nothing will go in there. Sample cock, so whenever she opens this, she can pull a sample to see how it's doing, she can test it. And then this is a racking arm, so you can't really tell right now, but this has a pipe on the inside, so mimic this guy. And so what this does is whenever I can turn this, I'm now using the pipe to move and pull beer. And then she's got the bottoms right here, so where most of that yeast, these are conical shaped, so then those yeast and hot particles and all that trub and schmutz will kind of settle to the bottom, right? Gravity will help it. We try to pull the beer on top of that. We don't want any of that schmutz over there. These are obviously the man ways. You open these bad boys up. My only complaint with this one is, you see how they have like an edge? This edge is also mimicked on the inside. So it's a bitch to try to clean because you can't see, so you have to clean on the inside. If she doesn't clean stainless steel is sexy, it's great. There's two things wrong with stainless steel. You can't see inside of it. Like she's got 3 other beers right here. She has no idea what she couldn't tell me exactly where the level's at. You have no idea what's happening inside of there. You just kind of like set it and forget it and hope for the best and take your testings. If you don't clean the vessels inside, any type of bacterial or microbial activity that can happen will infect these beers and turn them bad or turn them really well.
How do you find that out?
Taste, smell, testing. You can see pH drops. You can see gravities. All of a sudden, a beer that should have like residual leftover sweetness is all of a sudden dry, and you didn't mean to do that. Might be a bug inside. Julia is very meticulous when it comes to cleanliness, so the hoses got to be clean. Parts have to be clean. If, let's say, we're trying to hook up something and one part hits the floor, you're like, oh shit, 5-second rule. No, that 5 seconds, you just fucked yourself. And so she has it over here. What she does is she'll clean parts first, always with caustic, hardcore chemical, and then she'll hang them up here like a shadow board. And then she knows these parts are clean. They just gotta be sanitized before they get used. But that's why they hang here air dry. Parts shouldn't be soaking. They should never be left in stagnant water, whether there's chemical in it or not. I don't believe in stagnant. So I like this shadow board. She now knows where everything is. So here's her sight glass. Here's, elbows. Here's gaskets. Here's tri-clamps, spray balls. She knows where everything is. And then every brewer has a toolbox, right? So Julia's really organized and prepared that way. Where are you at?
Forgot I have to harvest yeast.
Oh, you see some yeast harvesting. The cool thing about what we do is we make sugar water. We're professional sugar water makers. Like, that's what we do. But we don't make beer. The yeast makes the beer. And so what Julia's got to do is the yeast, you can reuse that yeast. As long as it's healthy and viable, we can pitch from tank to tank and keep it going. Kind of like a sourdough starter in a way. What yeast are you pulling?
3470.
Oh, so she's taking a lager yeast that she needs for today, probably.
Huh?
You need it for today. So she already has a lager that already has used this yeast. So the yeast goes into the sugar water, gets hot and full, drops, goes dormant. So what we do is we take those healthy yeast cells, we extract it, and then we put it in the new beer. So then when we put it into a new environment, when she pitches it into the new lager today, it's gonna awaken in an environment full of sugar, and it's gonna be like, oh, it's like a fat kid in a candy store. And they're just gonna keep munching and creating. So I'm talking about the sanitation, right? So what Julia's gonna do is she's gonna clean parts. You wanna make sure it's clean, whatever vessel she's gonna use. And then she's gonna sanitize that vessel and then put the yeast in that vessel. That way she knows it's clean. She cleaned it that day. She's not gonna clean it, forget it, 3 days later come back and be like, oh, it's still clean. No. Day of. And she's got time.
In my mind, I'm like, oh, brew days are my favorite. Like, I love brew days. But I think, honestly, my favorite day is transfer day, when you get it over into the bright tank and you can, like, try it and be like, oh, shit, like, I made this. Like, hell yeah. But brew days are also great. I don't know. I love almost every part of it.
So what Julia did is, so what she's doing right now, so watch this sight glass right here. So now she's going to gently bring in that wort, because we want to try to clarify it now. We're doing something called vorloffing. So now she wants to come in, she doesn't want to collapse that bed in there. So right now she wants to pull water without too much, because you're going to create kind of that vacuum or break everything. So we want to gently pull from that false bottom, and we're gently going into this ground. So if you come over here, Siege, you're going to see what we're going to do is start beginning to fill this ground with wort. So if you look at it now, it's kind of cloudy. You see some grain particles. It's, I don't know, it's looking like a submarine, dirty submarine inside there, right? So what happens is she's hit it to where a green light's going to go on when it hits this sensor and it gets full, and it's going to go back on top. So it's going to come, actually it's going to come out here, go through this pipe, and back up top. So let's come up top. So now we're going to take that sugar water, and it's going to come, boom, right back on top. And instead of blasting on top, we're hitting the sidewall to kind of make sure we're not destroying that grain. We want to be gentle here. So while we hit that sidewall, it's kind of relaxing and dropping. So once it gets a whole grand's full, it'll stop and repeat that process.
There are days like I try beers and I'm like, oh, this beer doesn't taste good, but I know it's my palate. Like, I've drank coffee, or I just brushed my teeth, like that type of stuff. Yeah, so I mean, definitely like just drinking and like washing your mouth out with water helps, but sometimes like your palate is where it's at and it's not gonna change, so it's rough sometimes tasting beer with that. But I mean, for the most part, the longer you do it, the more natural it comes to you, I guess, and the more it's easier to pick out certain things and I look for certain things in a beer. So.
And we had to tell Julia about a year ago to stop taking oyster shots before she came into work.
Yeah.
That helped too.
How do you handle criticism?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. With beer, there is so much creativity to the beer that like you have to realize you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's not going to be everyone's glass of beer. I think when you get people in here that like want to try new styles, but maybe they just don't like those styles or the way I brew them, and that's totally fine. I mean, it's just how it is, kind of, Like there are some that will say things like, oh yeah, didn't like this beer, it tasted like this to me. And that's the other thing, everyone's palate is so different. It's hard to take criticism. Yeah. Criticism from my peers though, I love getting it. I love hearing what they have to say about my beers and
Like
how, and like how I can make it better, how he's tasting it, what he's getting from it, and that drives me forward, and that gives me more of a direction to go off of. Yeah, I think it's hard when the public gives me criticism. It's very vague, and it's more like, oh, I'm tasting this in the beer, and you're like, okay, like I don't know where to get that, like. Yeah, but whereas, David or, someone else in the industry tastes it and they're like, oh, I'm getting this. Did you mean for it to come off this way? Or I actually am getting a little bit of this off flavor. So yeah, and it's fine. I mean, I don't take it to heart too much. I mean, I always want to improve. There's always room for improvement. But also at the same time, like, again, you can't be everyone's cup of tea, so.
Kind of going on what Julia said, there's some apps out there like Untapped.
Yeah.
I never go on Untapped, but it's a free space to where the keyboard warriors can go up there and be like, this Kolsch isn't from Cologne, so you can't call it a Kolsch, go fuck yourself, it doesn't taste anything like, it's like, well, I'm using local malt. Like we'll go back to Hopkins. Hopkins is really cool because he's trying to make the best beer styles he can with local malt only. So are you, as a traditionalist, strike one because you're using local malt. I'm pretty sure Utah's not known for beer, right? And anyway, so going off of what people say is, after being like judging beer a lot, I still to this day, I have a hard time when I take a beer, someone else's beer, my first mindset is to go to find the fault in the beer. And I've been trying, we had one of our coworkers try to teach us like, why don't you find the first thing you find is the good thing on it and then break it down. And so trying to shifting gears, it's like, I'm going to take one of Julia's beers and the first thing I'm going to do is try to figure out what's wrong with it. Why? Why are we trying to seek out the bad? When my coworkers or my colleagues are like, hey, I taste like this, like the one time I tell you about the oxidation one, so I gave beer to Level Crossing. And Max opens it, and I had left, he opened it and he pours it out and it completely looks oxidized. And and this is why I love him. He's like, hey man, like I know you make good beer, like this is probably maybe a one-off, but like this looks and tastes oxidized. And I'm like, oh my God. Long story short, come to find out our purges were off.
Yeah.
In our 16-ounce cans. And because of that,
and so you found
I fixed everything.
Yeah.
And so after that, it's like, thank you. So I called him and I'm like, dude, thank you so much for like letting me know this, because I've given that beer to dozens of our friends,
and
no one said anything. So fuck them all in a joking way. But I'm like, thank you so much for like caring. You know how much I care about my product. You said something. And was it criticism? Take it what you want, but it helped me now be a better brewer.
Yeah.
Because I'm sending product out. I don't want if my beer's tasting like shit, someone tell me. Yeah, please. So your long-winded answer is, I could take criticism. I like it because it helps me be better. So Julia made this coffee coconut beer, Art City Rider, and it was a coffee coconut blonde.
Yeah,
Blonde, and it was awesome, dude. It had like lovely coffee notes with a subtle love tap of coconut, and it was a crushable beer flavored beer. And we brought it to a beer fest last year or 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And it just like, everyone's like, what? Even the brewers, what the hell? But how Julia does it is a proprietary secret that no one's gonna know about. So with coffee, you can either change the color of the beer with the coffee, like extract, cold brew, concentrate, the beans itself. But to make it a certain color and a certain flavor, it's all like a balancing game. And so we went through that beer, like a couple of renditions of it before we're like, okay, this is good.
This is where it's at. And now, with yours, we're both making coffee beers.
We're both making, my favorite, what was the comment you said? We're both making the same beers, or I had to go make the beer up there?
Yeah, let's go make my beers up there.
Yeah, Julia's like, I taught you well, now you're making my beers up there. That's what put Ketos on the map in 2017.
Yeah.
And they won a gold for the coffee beer. And that's always been a staple at Ketos. I had 3 goals in mind, or 3 beers I wanted to bring back to like life, and that was one of them. The best breakfast beer. Like you can't beat that, right? And so I've been working really hard at it, and I've been giving renditions of it to Julia and friends. And this one I'm giving Julia today is going up to a competition, one of the biggest competitions in the West Coast. It's going up next week, actually. We drive it up. So the thing about beer judging is when you send that style, you can't judge that style because you'd recognize your beer.
Yeah.
So I won't be judging it, but you kind of mentioned the metal thing. It's a good tap on the shoulder, a pat on the back. But Julie and I actually like the feedback more than the metal itself, because if you win the medal, I don't care what the feedback is, because like it's good, right? But the feedback, you get unbiased opinions trying to help you fine tune your beer. I
Yeah.
think the last GABF, Julie and I entered in, we're just waiting for those notes. Like, come on. Okay, Siege, come check us out now. It's been about 15 minutes. Way more clear. Let me see if I can get a light.
Totally. Oh, wow.
Because it's a light lager, we have to make sure this is really, really clear. I like watching this. So it's still filling up. This is the sensor it's gonna hit. Green light's on.
Cool. So cool.
Yeah. But there's that sensor right there. You see that guy? Boop. And then afterwards, she's gonna switch these up and we're gonna send it to the kettle. But remember my kettle had the big calandria, that big steam jacket in the middle, that vessel in the middle of the vessel. She doesn't have hers. Underneath here, there's gonna be a big, huge furnace fire on the bottom of this.
Okay.
And then it's gonna just heat the bottom, and it's basically a big pot. So it's not gonna be on the sides like mine is. It's gonna be just from the bottom. And you can see where the scorch marks are.
Yeah.
So when she does a brew house clean like she talked about, tomorrow this will be all crystal clear. That's the cool thing about stainless is she'll clean this to the fact where you won't see that bears ever touch this. And then we have the steam. Steam will go out. We have a relief valve right here in case something happens, and then that spray ball. She looks like she's fitted with something, retrofitted with something else. I'm curious to know what that is. I've not seen that. So it looks like this guy sprays. Is this a new spray ball, Jules?
Oh yeah, for cleaning.
Yeah, so this is a different spray ball that she's using for cleaning.
You haven't
Instead
seen
of
one like
this
that before?
But see how that one spins?
Yeah.
This one doesn't. This will stay in place. So this is the caustic. So what she's doing is she's cleaning the inside of all her parts. So the caustic's in the tubing too. And when she's done with that, she's gonna rinse it off with a hot rinse. And she's gonna put in this chemical called iodophor, which is a sanitizer. The only thing I don't like about iodophor is it stains. So this tube used to be clean or clear. So like, see this right here? This used to be crystal white, pretty brilliant, and now it's a little yellowy. Okay. But I know it's clean though. The brewery itself might not look like a hospital, but inside these vessels and hoses, hospital grade cleanliness. Yeah, we have to be cleaning. Most of our job is spent just cleaning. Ugh. Do you want to see Julia's sour tank? Hopefully it has pressure on it. She hates that. Let's go.
She hates that.
A true way to make a sour is you have to take that sugar water and then you pitch a bacteria in it. You actually you infect it. You literally infect beer. And there's good and bad things about it. You get whatever culture you're infecting it with, you get that flavor, you get those microbes, whatever it is, right? You can get wild yeast strains, you can get genetically modified, this, that, and the other. Or the only thing you don't want is you don't want that into your other breweries. So let's, for example, if I use a hose, I hooked it up to this tank, ran that infected wort in that hose, took that hose, hooked it up to one of those vessels, that is now infected. So the beer she's making right now, it should be a clean, crisp lager. I hooked up a sour tank hose, and now her light lager will be a funky light lager. So it's like an infection, and that's like a brewer's nightmare. So this right here is, we call it the zoo. So this has about 3.5 PSI. So right now, right here, you can see this. Julia keeps a little sour culture, stays in this, okay? And so whatever touches this, only touches this. In order to clean this, what you have to do is boil parts, chemicals, and it's a nightmare to try to get rid of an infection. It's like, how would you put it? Trying to take someone that has pneumonia and try to clean them out from the inside out. It's just difficult. So this is her sour tank. So what she'll do is she'll push in whatever beer she wants. It'll make it sour, and then she'll let it do its job as long as it takes. And then what she'll do is put it back into the kettle, boil the shit out of it, because after 185 degrees pasteurization's happening, she'll kill all the bacteria in there. And then what happens is she can fruit it and do what she wants. I'll have you chase one of her sours, but this is what she's really good at. So that's why this tank is way over here. I think Julia is the best sour beer maker, and her strength is British style beers, because she used to live in the UK for a while. So this is where the yeast is gonna go. So right now this is full of CO2. She's going to hook it up to a tank, and you'll see the yeast come out. It's actually really cool. So what Julia is doing is called crashing. So she'll go up here, see the temperature probes up there? It's pressure on the tanks, so you don't want to create a vacuum, right, or implode. So what happens is you crashing 4? Mm-hmm. So right now she's sending glycol. She's telling the unit to send glycol into the jackets to cool this tank down. So if you want to touch right here, CJ, so feel what a jacketed or what glycol is doing versus one that doesn't have glycol. Yeah? So when she gets these down to like 32 degrees and it's humid, you'll see condensation on this thing like crazy. Yeah. Second cleanest brewery in Utah.
Who's first, Lehigh?
I open those plates at Kitos and it drops on the conveyor belt, and I do have to scrape off those.
Oh, you gotta scrape them off. That's really hard.
And then it goes on the conveyor belt into a tote. What Julia has to do is she has to actually reach in here and grain out. So she finally grew up.
Hey, you know what? My regular garden hoe was working.
Because this one reaches in the back and pulls, right? You still have the old one?
Yeah, it's up there.
Oh my God. So this is technology nowadays, right? I'll show you what she was using. This is a device that moves grain. Yeah, but see the difference? It means night and day. It's funny. So now our goal is we're gonna take that sugar water and start filling this kettle. Here we go. Woo!
Cool.
So now we're doing a grant's worth and we're just slowly filling this kettle up now. Nice and easy. Boop. Come back up here. So what we're gonna start seeing is, we're gonna start seeing the grain come up. So when Julia sees a certain level, that's when she's gonna start sparge. And when she starts to sparge, this guy is gonna start spinning.
Okay.
So you can see kind of some protein material on the foam. Beautiful. Like they say in Germany, no foam, no beer. So what Julia is doing is getting all the sanitizer out of this, and then she's gonna re-hook it up, and she's going to purge it, right?
Yeah.
Purging this guy. So she'll purge this out because there's oxygen in here, and one of the biggest enemies of beer is oxygen. So what she's gonna do is make sure, try to get as much oxygen out of this vessel as possible, and then once she's done, she's gonna be purging into a bucket, I'm assuming, yeah?
Yeah.
So she's gonna be putting a hose from here into a bucket, and she's gonna purging. So there's no way oxygen can get back into this vessel. We're using CO2 to push all the oxygen out. Oxygen will come into this bucket into solution. And once she's comfortable with the purge, she's gonna hook this bad boy up to the bottom of that tank, and we're gonna see a yeast propagation. So then what Julia's doing, like we said, is blowing that CO2, pushing that oxygen out, and you can see a visual. We're getting yellow bubbles.
Bubbles.
Again, we're trying to make sure there's no oxygen in this line at all. So what Julia's gonna do, so I call this schmutz, because there's yeast in this tank right now.
Okay.
We got dead cells on bottom and top. We want that nectar in the middle. We want the yeast in the middle. So what Julia's doing, see if she can do the cowboy flip. Pressure's on. One day she'll figure it out. Okay, so now what she's gonna do is she's gonna detach this guy, because remember there's oxygen in here. So technically we could harvest right now, but then we want to get rid of all the shitty cells, and there's still oxygen in this line. So now what Julia's gonna do is she's gonna point this towards that drain, and she's gonna open this guy up, and you're gonna see, watch this. So you're gonna see yeast coming out. Boom.
Yeah.
So you're gonna see the texture change too. So you got some little hot particles, maybe some grain. So you can see the consistency of this. So this is the yeast. So now it's starting to get clear.
Yeah.
So now we're getting to that money spot. So what Julia's is gonna do, she's gonna cut it off, because now we got the yeast we want. And then she's gonna re-sanitize this as quick as possible. Hook her back up, she's gonna re-clamp it. And now we're connected. You can kind of see, if you look really carefully, see if we can find some. So what she's gonna do, she's actually gonna watch this, because if it goes thin, then we're gonna cut it off. If If all of a sudden, for some reason, she sees beer, we're gonna cut it off. We only want that yeast. Yeah? And then when she's done with this, she's gonna weigh it out and she's gonna do a yeast count. You're gonna do a yeast count today? Oh, we're gonna see some cells today. One of my favorite parts. And then she's, based off how healthy she sees the yeast, she's going to pitch that amount into the next tank for the next beer. That's channeling right now.
Oh,
so
cool.
You can kind of see like that river flowing. So we're gonna try to stop that because now it's gonna all go to that side wall down there.
Right.
And we don't want that. So what she's gonna start doing is start the sparge. Sparge time.
Sparge time.
So when she starts doing this, you're gonna see this start spinning.
Here it comes.
Okay, ready for this?
And that's just leveling it out.
So now she's adding water on top, right? Because we're trying to avoid those channelings. So now she's gonna create more water on top. So we can, because there's still sugars entrapped in all of that grain. So now we're gonna rinse it. So sparging is literally rinsing. So see how kind of muddy it is, kind of murky a little bit.
So cool.
It's gonna filter itself out. So our goal is to get this water level above this grain. See, this is what I miss is, you know, going to a production facility, I don't get to see this.
Yeah.
I don't get to see my grain beds, and it's a delicate process. There's something about what, you know, draft only is just beautiful. She has a dream job, by the way. So we're gonna let this equal out for a minute. We're gonna open it up and we're gonna see that level of water. Now what she's gonna do is pull a sample, and I want you to watch that because we're gonna go look at it under a microscope. Oh, it's so cool. So what we'll do is we'll put something called methylene blue. We're gonna put it inside the yeast sample, and anything that's a dead cell or broken cell, that methylene blue will actually go through the cell wall and dye it. So anything that's dyed blue, we know is a bad cell.
Are we? Maybe do a little bit more water.
Okay, so now Julia's gonna grab a sample of her yeast. Beautiful, look at that. See how fluffy it looks, CJ?
Yeah.
That's good shit right there. So Julia's gonna go to 20 milliliters. Pressure's on, Jules. Boom, 20. So now what Julia's gonna do with distilled water is she's not gonna add the distilled water, and she's gonna bring it up to 200 milliliters. Boom. So what Jules will do now is put it on a spin plate, a stir plate, and there's a magnet in there, and what's it gonna do is it sits there and just spins. We're gonna I'm just gonna mix it all up. So she's diluted that solution from earlier. And now she's gonna add something called methylene blue. And it literally is just this beautiful blue. It's gonna dye any broken cells and go actually inside the cells and like turn them blue from the inside out. And we'll know that those are bad cells. So what Julia's gonna do now is she's gonna put this on a slide. So see this little channel? This little channel, Julia's trying to get into it. Boom. So Julia now is doing her cell count. And then she's gonna enhance it and continue. What Jules is gonna do now is she has a counter and she's gonna count all the good cells. And she's gonna keep track in her head all the bad cells. Count the good cells and the bad cells because we're going on a ratio right now. If there's more healthy than there are dead, there's more dead than healthy. And that way we can see, because sometimes we've gotten rare times where the cells are so dead where you can't even use, there's not enough cells and not enough yeast to actually produce a good beer. Sometimes you can put shitty yeast in a beer, but then you're gonna get shitty beer. And sometimes if you see ones that look like football shapes, they're bad. If you have ones that are perfectly circled, but they're dyed blue inside out, they're bad. We're looking for those clusters, you'll see them like cells. They're just beautiful. If you really look closer, you can see them like move. Like they're alive. This is a live organism that we have to continue to keep alive and pitch and help us make our craft. And yeast is cool because there's different variations of yeast. There's different qualities of yeast. Some yeast give off more estery, phenolic profiles, some more like banana. Some give off more clove. Some are just super clean. Some give off a little sulfur stink to it. And it's so fun to mess with these Some just crush. Some will ferment fast and hard. Some will ferment very slow. Maybe you can get in there. Yep. Yeast ready to go. Julia knows how much yeast to put in there. Julia just turned on the kettle. So we have direct fire. So it's about right here. Underneath this panel, it's just fire. Boom, like a dragon. Boom. So let's see. Still movement, we're still adding. So over here, see that? Perfect.
Dang.
Perfect level of water above that grain. No channeling, we're rinsing the grain right now. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Not murky, you're not seeing chunks in there. Sending it over. It's mesmerizing, dude.
It is.
Yeah. There's one thing you don't say in the brewery ever. Today is gonna be a chill day. Famous last words in hospitality, yeah, never once.
Or I'm leaving early today.
Oh,
Every time I'm like,
early.
I'm leaving early today. No, you're not. Actually leaving late today.
Yeah, every time.